It was not cake, it was cringe, father.
Hi everyone, how you doing? Now I saw someone in chat say it. Okay, I'll confirm one thing immediately. Everything in the background right now, and that you just saw, and in the redeems, and all in the Twitch redeems, and all that. Hold on, let me one moment. I'm just scooch myself out of the way. All that, you see that back there? Right. This is for a new model. But I'm impatient and don't really do debuts, really. So I'm like, fuck it, you know, I'll just go live with this, like with how it is. Let's get myself hooked back in there. There we go. Okay, hi everyone, how you doing? Yeah, as you can see behind me and here and everything, I brought the Grimdark theme back. And like I said, so here's what happened. The other day, I dropped the money on my artist, Miss Sensei, for a new model. And while I'm coordinating with him to get it made, I was like, you know what? I want to bring back the old 40k adjacent Grimdark theme I used to have when I was still just a Black Templar model that I had to get rid of. But I was like, okay, I'll start putting stuff together I'll start putting stuff together, like, you know, get stuff done. And I saw the trailer drop. Some people said some really retarded shit about it, and a lot of cool shit in it. And it just hit me. Fuck it. Fuck it. I'll debut the new theme ahead of time. Why not, right? It's my stream. I'll fuck it up if I want to. But yeah, hello everyone. How you doing? Yeah, well, yeah, and there's I see that. I will just say there is a certain redeem in there. Yes, it's back. Yes, it's a certain minute-long tirade. I know one of y'all are gonna abuse it at some point. So, yeah, for those who know what it is.
Come on, baby, give me some heresy!
Hey, Ulysses Drakenhard, how you doing? How you doing? Hey, also, hello, Alec. Nothing is more grimdark than office chairs. Hey, yo, listen, man. Listen. Have you ever sat in an office chair for a long time? They hurt. I wouldn't wish that on my enemy. But, yeah. How am I doing? Hey, Chonka, how you doing? I am doing just fine today. I'm doing just fine. Right, yeah. So I might as well not beat around the bush and just get, get right to the meat of it. Yeah, new 40K trailer dropped. I feel like in watching it, I feel like there's the way it plays out. We're gonna watch it, don't worry, but I want to talk about it a little bit first. I feel almost like a vibe shift going on when I watch it. I've been kind of low-key feeling a vibe shift all through the late stages of 10th edition. So until about your legs get numb. Yeah, no, exactly. Remember, everyone, if you're sitting in an office chair for extended periods, get up and stretch, walk around a bit. Don't die of gamer's cramp. Nobody wants that. But I'm, right. Vibe shift in the company. We'll go into that. We'll go into details. We'll go into detail about that after we watch it. Yeah, that, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I've also noticed something, and I started looking into it, and now I can't unnotice it. They retconned a quarter of the new lore in 10th edition. They've applied a retcon to it. It looks like. I began noticing, my almonds began activating. I started seeing, wait a minute, you're suddenly changing everything. You're suddenly changing everything like how you said it was in 10th already. 11th isn't even out yet. Like, the time between the lore they dropped and the retcon is fairly quick in this case. Does that vibe shift include a better pricing model? Of course not, Calamine. Of course not. We're talking like, culture and the approach to the culture of producing 40K stuff, not the financials. Although Games Workshop apparently took a big financial hit recently, so that happened. The old logo would be peak. Yeah, can't get it all though. I will admit, I do prefer the old third to 8th? With 3rd to 8th? Yeah, third edition, 8th to 8th edition logo. I do prefer that one, honestly. The last sentence of the trailer sounded familiar. Okay. No Tau representation. Oh, okay, listen. The Tau got their only starring role in a video game deleted. So, yeah. Fire Warrior's no longer canon. Right, okay, so let's go over here. Let's get the screen out and let's get watching. Let's get watching like a plane. Okay. Media share. No, that's the capture method. We don't want that. Here we go. All right, everyone. All right. Will Imperial agents survive? As a Death Watch player, I certainly hope not. But right, okay, here we go. This is the new trailer they dropped. If you haven't watched it yet, you know this is the new trailer they've made. I'm gonna be honest, it's not really a 11th edition trailer. It's not really an 11th edition trailer, but we'll go into that in a minute. Let's yeah, I have the subtitles on. I have the subtitles on for those who might need them. Yeah, let's watch this. Let's watch this. It's pretty choice.
It is the 41st millennium. For more than 100 centuries, the Emperor has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth.
Hey, Salt, how you doing?
He is the master of mankind in the war between gods.
There's the boss man.
And master of 1,000,000 worlds by the might of his inexhaustible armies.
Games Workshop remembering Battlefleet Gothic exists momentarily.
He is the carrion lord of the Imperium, for whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day, so his may continue to burn. He is a rotting carcass, writhing with power.
There's the Golden Throne.
Forbidden marvels from the dark age of technology. To be alive in such times is to be one.
Yeah, this is stuff we saw in the 11th edition trailer.
It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable.
I'm not gonna lie, all the imagery they're showing just shows how that line in particular hasn't worked since 2nd edition.
Forget the power of technology.
I like how Eldar literally only getting 2 seconds of footage is the most Eldar thing ever.
Forgotten. Never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding.
I'm pretty certain that Guardsman's hearing loss isn't service related.
Darkness of the far future. There is only war.
Oh, and there. Oh, of course the salamanders are suffering.
Only an eternity of carnage and slaughter. And the laughter of thirsting gods. But the universe is a big place, and whatever happens, you will not be missed.
That right. Okay. We need to go into some details about the some details about this trailer that struck me while watching it. Okay. First of all, let's back up a little bit. I gotta find an example. Now, gotta find an example of this. What's his Who remembers okay, can I find the side by side somebody made? That was a really good example that shows what I'm talking about. Comparison? Shit. All right, no, that's not helping. Okay. All right. We'll do it this way. We'll do it this way. Okay. Who remembers this from earlier in 10th edition? It was around the time Imperial Agents dropped. Like remember this? Remember when they redid this classic art? Like this? Remember that? Okay, so here's immediately. So there was a lot of this going on in later 9th and throughout 10th edition. Like very much, maybe not as aggressive. Maybe the other examples weren't as aggressive as with this. But there was a lot of like turning the vibe of 40K, you know, from this to this, you know? This was, in my opinion, the most standout example, but you could find other examples throughout the edition. You know, like it's funny too because they used. Hold on, where the fuck is Let me find the. Okay, it's funny too because, you know, they used for the cover of the actual Agents of the Imperium Codex, they used this original art. Like they used the original art, but then they're putting shit like this on the books, on the other books, you know? Looks like Age of Sigmar. Exactly. I feel like up to the planning of 10th edition, they had the Age of Sigmar team doing most of the decision making. You can kind of feel that throughout the edition. A lot of the decisions they make, both on a creative level, a political level, a rules level. Remember, everyone, the reason there's a statement that one model per system, that was the Age of Sigmar guys being butthurt over the old world existing. You can't run your Heresy era vehicles in Warhammer 40,000 anymore outside of Legends, literally because the Age of Sigmar team got butthurt and said, "Oh, what do you call it? One model per system, guys. You're not allowed to anymore." Like, yeah, like that was entirely on the Age of Sigmar team. And yeah, it felt like they were like throughout 10th, they were trying to file the edges off 40K. And if you want an example of that, look no further than the female Custodes, right? Look no further than that. Well, look no further than the repeat attempts to, not attempts, but just outright instances of writers of the lore using, like, say, the Black Templars as their trauma dump over the fact that their dad made them go to church when they were kids, you know? Like what happened with the Crusade Armageddon book and the whole vat of acid thing with Grimaldus, or novels like say Throne of Light, you know, which would have been written around the time of the planning stages of 9th. That shit really started to appear middle 9th, all through 10th, and now, I mean, even you know, the trailers. Like, remember remember how the trailers for 9th and 10th were like, they were kind of token grimdark, but they weren't really, you know? Like they felt like it. Look, I will say this much about the 9th edition trailer. I loved the fact they had the Sisters of Battle in it, don't get me wrong. But it really felt less grimdark and more like it had an air of smashing toys together rather than being grimdark. Do you know what I mean? Like it felt like it was there a little bit, right? Like there was a little bit of grimdark, but it mostly had that smash toys together feel. This does not feel like that. The sister's arm just healing, no stakes in the setting. I can kind of forgive that because of their, you know, their power to generate miracles, but the way they used it in the trailer felt kind of like that. You're not wrong, see that. But this trailer here feels like a callback, like to older editions, you know? Just the imagery showing like the fucking, what is it? Where's the God Emperor on the throne? What, like the flash cuts of like, say, the, can I get, hold on. Try to get the shot where you can see the Emperor's face in the statue. And YouTube is not good at, you know, finding individual moments in a thing. But you get what I'm saying, like the imagery of the Psychers being devoured. Like, look at this. This is some damn good grimdark imagery. Okay, hold on. Let me set 2160. Turn the subtitles off. Yeah, like this is some damn good imagery here. Or showing the Golden Throne. You know, and I will say this, they reused footage for the Armageddon trailer, right? But again, it fits the tone. It fits the tone. It's not just smashing toys together. Like they're using the footage to convey, not just to show action, fighting, you know, they're using it to convey a mood. Use the comma and period key. Really? I didn't know that. Hold on. Wow. Salt, I never knew that. Thank you. Thank you. I never knew you could do that. Like, I never knew you could advance it frame by frame. Hold on. There it is. There it is. Like this. Look at that. Look at how metal that is. This trailer, no Primarchs, no positive feels, no we're winning feel. I would definitely say it harkens back to the whole feeling of, you know, the Imperium on the defensive, you know, with the fighting going on, like, you know, the orcs, like fighting the orcs, fighting the Necrons here. Well, like they're getting overwhelmed by the Necrons. I will point out, and I said this when the trailer was going. Hold on. I said this while the trailer was going. The most Eldar thing you could possibly do is have the Eldar on screen for 2 seconds and then move on to something else. Like, that's the most Eldar thing they could have done for the trailer. Yeah, like fucking, what, they got fighting Necrons like this, and then the guards show up, and it's a desperate battle against Chaos Marines, and, you know, we see them, like, admittedly, we see the guardsmen, like, you know, what was it, like, heroically just fucking, they absolutely, you know, fuck up this Chaos Marine. They kill this guy, right? And it is a heroic moment. And then immediately right behind them is his cavalry, you know? No Tau. Yeah, no Custodes at all either, even though, like, they had quite literally, where is it? Yeah, it's hard to fucking miss. They had the Golden fucking Throne on screen. And no Custodes. Not a one. I feel like they know they can't really show them off at this point. They can't really show the Custodes off with lighting a firestorm, and they really can't afford that with this trailer. With this trailer in particular, right? I mean, the only way to form a scenario, show the Custodes off and win, is to remove the women. It's really that simple. Let's get the stream music going again. But yeah, no, it's like the vibe of this trailer is, and by the way, I want to point this out. This was my favorite. This is something I thought was just kind of darkly funny. Like, you know, all the Reddit memes of salamanders being like, you know, the Reddit good guy chapter? Yeah, that's the salamanders in the trailer getting devoured by Tyranids for probably not pulling out when they really should have. Like, yeah. Well, the Reddit, you know, like the what do you call it? The unfortunately, okay, I hate to have to give the salamanders the title of the Reddit chapter, right? But let's be real here. Among Redditors, the salamanders are one of those, oh, you're allowed to like this chapter factions, right? Yeah, even if you, look, I like the salamanders, but I'm not going to deny the fact that's kind of how Reddit sees them, right? Oh, they're Space Marines you're allowed to like because they're nice. Look where Games Workshop put them. In the reclamation pool. And what do you call it? But yeah, like, what else? Oh, and then hold on. I'm gonna need to. Oh yeah. This whole bit, by the way, with the chaos. With hold on, you've got. How far back do I go? Right around here. Like with the chaos gods popping up, like what do you call it? Like you got Nurgle here. Yeah, there he is. You got Nurgle. Then you got where is she? Come on, girl, show me that beautiful face. There we go. You got Slaanesh popping up. Hey, Lance Corporal, how you doing? Marines Malevolent are the true Reddit Marines. No. The Marines Malevolent are Reddit Marines because, you know, they're used by Reddit as the template for what, air quotes, all other Space Marines are like. You know? So that's how they're Reddit Marines. They're Reddit Marines in the opposite direction. Because, you know, the Marines Malevolent are notoriously a bunch of cocks, even, you know, by Space Marine standards. But they're the ones that are used as the standard by Reddit. No. Oh, I saw what you typed their seat at. Yeah, I'm gonna say, yeah. Andareb, no, I don't see an N times 40k happening. I don't. N times 40k would be disastrous for Games Workshop. Like, absolutely disastrous. Also, I like how, right after Slaanesh, this, do you see this icon amidst the chaos funk? That's the icon of Yniad, and there's an Eldar face on screen. So Games Workshop is remembering that Yniad exists and is, you know, putting him on camera right after Slaanesh, which, you know, symbolic. And then, oh, that's a actually really good shot right there. Just our boy Zeech, showing up. And then Korn shows up. And now here's the one that kind of threw me for a loop when I saw it. For a brief moment, this thing shows up. This thing. Riley C's husband, that the trailer is grimderp. 9th edition trailer was better, more heroic, less pessimistic. Who wrote this trailer? Everything about it feels like a Warcom tourist. That's weak bait. Riley, I'm gonna be 100% with you. That is the weakest bait I've ever seen in my life. Like that was a fishing pole. You just threw it into the water. You just threw it into the water. Okay? Like, try a little harder. But right. Okay, when I saw, okay, you know what okay, this thing, though. You know what I first thought of when I saw it? Hold on, let me, where is that? All right, okay, I've got my post on it bookmarked. I'll go get the image I immediately thought of when I saw that. Hold on. I immediately thought of this. That's Dracnian. That's motherfucking Dracnian. That's Abaddon's sword in its demon form. Can't be Drac. He's still stuck in sword mode. I mean, for now he is. But I'm going to be honest, I feel like Games Workshop, everything I've seen about this trailer just feels like, you know, they're pulling back from how they were doing 40K in late 9th and 10th. This feels like they're trying to reshift the culture, you know? You think it's Bellicor? No. This is, this looks like a yawning, wide open maw with like spiky tendrils. And I don't think it's the Hive Mind. And the reason I don't think it's the Hive Mind is because the Hive Mind is not a chaos god. Or, you know, a warp entity. It's a Gestalt consciousness. You know? Like the Hive Mind isn't a warp entity. Like the Hive Mind actually blanks out the warp. So yeah, it's like, I don't think this represents the Tyranids. Because the things shown in this whole sequence are warp entities. You know, the 4 Chaos Gods and Yinad, who is also a warp entity. The Eldar gods are warp entities. So that means that this would have to be a warp entity, right? That's why I think it's Vashtor. Vashtor is a warp entity, and he's also an incredibly significant one because he's a demon the Emperor can't hurt. Like demons get like naturally hurt by the Emperor because he's the anathema, right? That doesn't work on Vashtor. That doesn't work on Dracnian. That's why I think this is Dracnian. Yeah, exactly. The Tyranids blank out the warp through the shadow in the warp. The Hive Mind is not a warp entity. It is a singular consciousness generated by a bajillion alien bugs, but it is not a warp entity. If anything, the sheer loudness of it is what, you know, is the shadow in the warp, you know, which shuts the warp out. Okay, continuing on from that. Yeah, like this. Also, I don't know if you noticed, this thing has an eye. This thing has a single red eye. It's Malice, lol. Games Workshop is never going to bring Malice back up. They're too afraid of legal issues. Okay, Riley, I'm gonna ask you to behave now. Okay? I'm gonna ask you to behave now. And then, lastly, where is it? Gork and Mork. That's Gork and Mork. Yeah, that is absolutely Gork and Mork. Like that is just
Squad deploying.
Oh, hey, ladies man 7450. First of all, do you have the glasses? Second of all, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Crusade. How you doing? They're both, Gork and Mork are dual entities, essentially. They're two halves of each other. They're like two halves of each other. Cunning brutality and brutal cunning. But yeah, no, that is just Gork and Mork. Like, that is just them. You know, it's just an orc. And I will point out, Gork and Mork are warp entities. So they fit here. You zog and get, that's clearly Mork and Gork. Listen, the philosophical debate as to whether it's Gork or Mork, well, it's like trying to find enough DACA, all right? It's just never gonna happen, all right? It's the Tau god of love and tolerance. Oh God, the god of the greater good. Man, I'm really glad. Okay, so this cuts into Phil Kelly, right? Riley, the guy in charge of 40K right now is Phil Kelly, not ADB. Phil Kelly is in charge of 40K right now. Like, okay, you know what? All right, Riley. You know what? Hold on. Where's the timeout button? Look, you came in, look, you've come in, wait, did I hit the right person? Oh my God, I think I banned the wrong, God damn it. Not banned, but timed out. Hold on. I know how to fix this. Calamite, if you're watching, I think I got you by mistake. I think I got you.
How can he not keep Jonah alive in the whale for 3 days?
All right, hold up. There we go. Riley, you've been timed out. You listen, you came in here just screaming the most obvious bait imaginable. You're not fooling anyone, all right? What, you don't think I did? Hold on. Moderation. You don't think, okay, well, I thought I did. If I timed out the wrong person trying to time Riley out, I'm gonna feel terrible. Like, I'm actually just gonna feel terrible. Friendly fire, yeah, exactly. I'm going to just feel terrible. I don't like, if you're gonna come into chat and just blare the most obvious bait imaginable to try to throw me off, yeah, you're just gonna get timed out. I'm not gonna ban you, but I'm hoping you learn your lesson. Oh, I timed out Restreambot? Oh, shit, that's bad. I timed out Restreambot. Oops. Hold on, we got scuff, everyone. I gotta figure out how to fix this. I timed out Restreambot. You can either overwrite the existing timeout with a new one or use the unban command. Okay, hold on. Okay, Restreambot is back. Restreambot is back. Oh God, I fucking cacked my own restream bot with friendly fire. I am so sorry about that. Right, so where were we? Right, yeah, that's just Gork and Mork. This is just Gork and Mork, yeah. This is an actually incredible trailer, and I want to point this out, and here's where we're gonna get into some spicy, some spicy laughs at the Warhammer community. This bit right here.
But the universe is a big place, and whatever happens, you will not be missed.
The fucking, okay. So the "you will not be missed" line, right? Some people were commenting on that, okay? So some people are bringing that up. We're gonna talk about that line for a minute, okay? Because of course the usual parasites in the Warhammer community decide to jump on it. Because that's what they do, right? Like the new trailer, hold on. Let's get this maximized. Where would we put you? Where would we put you? Media share. The new trailer wasn't even out 5 minutes, and you know, the leader of the Warhammer community, Arch-Taurus Norn Queen Kia, said they reused the "you will not be missed" line at the end. Okay, let's analyze that for a minute. The entire speech from the trailer is this, from first edition of Warhammer 40,000. The line, "But the universe is a big place, and whatever happens, you will not be missed," is a 38-year-old line from Warhammer 40,000. It is 38 years old. It's probably older than Kia. It's probably older than her. I don't know how fucking old she is, but it is a old ass line. It has been here since the start of Warhammer 40K. It literally, like, this is the whole thing from the trailer is just the opening speech for Warhammer 40,000. In fact, the only part that significantly changed is the line, "He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods," was changed to "He is the master of mankind in the war against gods," which I'm going to be honest, in my opinion, is more fitting. Because no god gave the emperor his right to rule but him. So changing that line, I thought works better. I remember this, even back in the day, it set a tone that no other game really had back then. Yeah, exactly. This is like foundational shit, all right? Happy Pride Month to my favorite gay chud. Hi, Gallant Jay, how you doing? Let me give you a... Let me get you a shout out there. Go give Jay a follow, everyone. Yeah, and you know what? Happy Men's Mental Health Awareness Month to you too, Jay. But right, so, right, okay, for those wondering, Jay's one of the homies. Jay's one of the homies. He's ragging on me. He was literally saying in a private chat earlier, he was thinking of a way to get me with that. So yeah, Jay's cool. I'm inclined to think that the Tyranid hive mind is a warp entity. I don't think so. It's not a warp entity so much as it's generated by the Tyranids and in turn controls the Tyranids. What's the deal with the Tau God? I don't know its status. It was brought up in like one book, I think. Like, I think it was like one book. They haven't really touched on it much. I don't know if they ever will either because the Tau are kind of irrelevant. But more to the point, more on topic. So yeah. "You will not be missed" is, again, it's a foundational line in, you know, Warhammer 40,000 lore, right? Kia only knows of it from this. This is the only place Kia and her ilk, the Warhammer community, this is the only place they know of it from. This stupid message some fucking Warcom intern put up. You know, because remember, this was done during the this was done when the Black Lives Matter terrorists were rioting and burning cities down, and Games Workshop was desperate to prevent them from burning their brick and mortar stores down, so they put out this statement. So yeah, this is where the community knows it from, because they don't read Warhammer books, they don't read old they don't read old rule books or old lore, or any lore for that matter. You know, they just watch YouTube and then make their own shit up, or regurgitate from like, you know, the fandom wiki. You know, like Arbitrator Ian does when he's not making shit up out of, you know, just pulling shit completely out of his ass for his Warhammer videos. So yeah, this is where they know the line, "You will not be missed" from. Not here. Not from the foundation of Warhammer 40,000, from its very first edition, from the very moment you crack open the original rulebook. They know it from here. They know it from here. And they're trying, and what old girl here is trying to do is basically, you know, honestly, I don't think she's trying to do anything. She's just stupid. Okay, she's just stupid. Doesn't actually know a lick about Warhammer, and only knew the "you will not be missed" line from this. Hence her, you know, little statement of they reused it. Like, of course they're gonna reuse the closing line of the opening text of the original edition of Warhammer 40K, when that's when they're quoting the whole time. OG text by Rick Priestley was merely highlighting the sandbox scale of Warhammer, aka your battles may or may not leave a mark on the universe so large. GW today use it to attack their own customers. I'm gonna be honest, I question exactly how much Games Workshop was behind the "you will not," you know, the Warhammer is for everyone statement, and the infamous the Imperium is driven by hate article. I really wonder how much of Games Workshop corporate was involved in that, and how much it was just Tom Mendelsohn or whichever rogue intern ran Warcom at the time just shooting their mouth off, and then they couldn't take it down due to optics. I really question how much commitment was actually there from Games Workshop as a company. They never followed through on anything from the Warhammer's, you know, driven by hate article. They never followed up on Warhammer is for everyone. Strikes me self-preservation. Well, I mean, yeah, when a bunch of terrorists are burning cities down, and there's you know, brick and mortar franchise stores in the line of fire, yeah, they're gonna say something to try to defend them. Even Arch said most of it was Tom Mendelsohn. Yeah, it really is, but it really can't be understated how one guy almost killed Warhammer 40,000. It really can't be understated. But that said, speaking of the Warhammer community, we had this little thing happen, and I want to bring this up. We had this little instance in the Warcom article about the new trailer. And of course, the poor human whom we saw first as a pilgrim, then a guardsman, and finally a corpse. Poor guy. That is a pretty typical fate for a mortal human in Warhammer 40,000. So if you ever thought, I wonder who I'd be if I was transported to the Dark Millennium, odds are it's that guy if you're lucky. Okay, ignoring the fact that this is just objectively wrong for a minute, because there are untold trillions of people who live normal, happy lives in the Imperium, never suffer, and just die of old age surrounded by family. Like, ignoring this, we know for a fact the people who write the Warcom articles are not Warhammer fans and know nothing about Warhammer. We know that for a fact, all right? We know for a fact they're fucking, social media interns who work from home and are hired out of fucking Nottingham University, okay? Like we know that for a fact, okay? So yeah, no, this person who wrote this has never actually read a Warhammer novel in their life. But you know what it reminds me of, what it brings up to that man is a hero. Of course this guy's a hero. He's fucking going up against Chaos Marines bravely at that. That's aspirational, okay? That's an aspirational thing. But of course, more than anything with these types, okay? Like how many times have you seen a meme like this? Who you want to be in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, and who you will actually be in the Warhammer 40,000 universe. A skull, right? A dead guy. You ever notice how this is like prevailingly the attitude that it's like, this is how you're supposed to feel about Warhammer. You're not supposed to want to be there. You're not supposed to want to have fun in it. You ever notice that? When that gets asked on social media, who would you be? I always ask Imperial Guardsman because it's what I know and that job could mean anything. Yeah, exactly. Average Grimdank meme. Yeah, you want to talk about, the most, the one of the biggest hives of tourists on Reddit, fucking Grimdank. But yeah, no, this is always the attitude, right? Like trying to, it's basically struggle session tactics. It's struggle session tactics. Basically trying to shame you into only wanting to enjoy Warhammer ironically instead of getting immersed in it, only enjoying it in that sense of like, oh, hey, I like the Imperium, but I like the Imperium ironically. I think they're evil. I know they're evil. Please don't get mad at me, Reddit. And honestly, there was nothing that was a better epitome of this attitude than this post from 2024 by our old friend Cerberus XT. If Warhammer 40,000 was real, 99.9% of Space Marine LARPers would actually be that dude. And he points at the guy with the mop. Now, first of all, 47,000 likes for this post. He bought likes for this. He botted likes for this post. And Cerberus, I'm just gonna say it. I know you ran away to Blue Sky. I know that. And I know you ran away to Blue Sky because they tolerate your kind there. And by your kind, I mean the weirdly perverted shit you said about your infant son on Twitter when you were still there. Comparing your son's comments on his mother's beauty to Oedipus. What did you mean by that? What did you mean by that, Cerberus? Still, I can see why you ran away to Blue Sky, I can see why you ran away to Blue Sky, to be with your kind, we'll just say. But this is one of the most ironic, like irony poisoned, pretentious ways to view Warhammer 40,000. I'm going to say this in the most clear, concise way I possibly can. Okay? Warhammer 40,000 isn't fucking real. It's not real. It is a fictional universe. None of it exists. It is not some alternate dimension that exists parallel to our own. It is a fictional setting. It's not real. The Warhammer 40,000 universe is not real. The Emperor is not real. Space Marines are not real. Chaos is not real. The Imperial Guard, Sisters of Battle, Tyranids, Orcs, Eldar, what the fuck ever, is not real. Cerberus. It's not real. Okay? Saying you would be the guy with the mop is ridiculous. I will be in Warhammer 40,000 whatever the fuck I want to be, because I'm sitting down to play games in a fictional universe. I'm sitting down to play a game where I will be the leader of a Space Marine army, the leader of an Imperial Guard army, a Space Marine in a squadron of 3 fighting Tyranids, a rogue traitor, some nobody reject in a hive world fighting hordes of Nurgle cultists, a Grey Knight slaughtering the Death Guard to protect the Imperium from the demons. Like, fuck, I could be an Eldar, a Tau, one of the kin. I could be one of the bad guys. I could be a goddamn Tyranid. They don't even have sapience. Okay, I could be Chaos. I could be a leader of any of the Chaos gods, or one of the Chaos gods controlling the demons. It's a fictional universe. Trying to shame people for finding it cool and aspirational to be a Space Marine, and it's only ever the Imperium, right? You can LARP as a Tau and an Eldar and an Orc or whatever, and they will never care. You can LARP as the goddamn demons and they won't care. The moment you LARP as a member of the Imperium, all of a sudden it's a problem. But it's not real. I can find the Imperium aspirational, being a Space Marine or an Inquisitor or a Guardsman or whatever, aspirational, because it's not real. The setting isn't real, and obsessing over it and trying to struggle session people into being ashamed of that shows that you are not a Warhammer fan. That's how simple it is. It shows you are not a Warhammer fan. You're a Warhammer tourist. Because a fan doesn't shame people for liking a faction unless they're being that guy, like Tau fans tend to be, right? Like the Tau fans who never shut the fuck up about how you have to hate yourself because you like the Imperium, a faction in a fictional fucking universe, okay? It's not fucking real. Get your head on your shoulders. Stop acting like Warhammer 40,000 is fucking real. And you wanna know what the best part is? The best part is when it comes to people like Serb, when it comes to them, the fucking trailer, as it currently stands, is vibe shifting back onto the attitude of Warhammer 40,000 that they hate. They hate the grimdark. They hate the struggle, you know? They only claim to like it for ironic reasons. To claim that, oh, it's actually satire, you guys, you know? That's why they claim to like it. That's why they claim to like the trailer. Not the trailer, but, the old stuff. But when Warhammer embraces the style of older editions, like we're seeing with this trailer, okay? They're not doing it to appease the wokes. They're doing it to sell Warhammer to people who like Warhammer for the reasons Warhammer became popular in the first place, and that is the old heads, the grognards, the people who, like me, who've been here for decades, who love this setting because everything is grim and dark and miserable and violent, and we're just holding the line desperately to save a few. That is why we true fans like Warhammer and why people like Cerberus don't. He's ashamed to be dragged into Warhammer. So he has to shame people who like the faction he deems, you know, the bad guys you're only supposed to like in a media-literate, ironic sense. And the ultimate irony is, and I know some of you were pointing this out in chat because I'm mid-rant here and I apologize for that, but I know some of you were pointing this out, being the guy with the mop, a chapter serf serving the Adeptus Astartes, is a high honor. So even in his analogy of the man with the mop, he fucked it up. That chapter serf may be a man with a mop, but you know what? There are generations of his ancestors smiling at him for making it that fucking far that he can serve the Adeptus Astartes in their crusade against the evils attacking mankind. And the fact he and others like him who agree with the, you know, you'd be the guy with the mop analogy, just goes to show you they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You like Warhammer Fantasy more, they really need to release the Kislev faction for the old world. Unfortunately, last I heard, Kislev got thrown in the garbage because it's too Russian, and Games Workshop didn't want to sell a Russian faction with the war in Ukraine going on. Right. Let's take a few minutes to decompress and yeah. How about that? Ooh. Yeah, no, I really legitimately can't stand this irony poison bullshit. Don't actually ever enjoy something. Don't ever actually enjoy something, you guys. If you enjoy a fictional setting, yes, it's a new background. But yeah, this is a new background. Hold on, let me go here real quick. One moment. I don't think y'all have really got to go look at the new background yet. Let me and there we go. I'll give you a good look at the new background. They want female space marines to say they took over the hobby. They did the exact same thing to BattleTech, and they plastered gay fan art all over the subreddit when they took that over. Yeah, I remember that. What do you call it? I'm gonna be honest. That's one of the things that, you know, I think is I said this on Twitter and it pissed these people off so hard. Hold on. It pissed these people off so hard today.
Faith is our shield.
End of days. Thanks for resubscribing. Grats on 33 months. Jesus, man. You've been here forever. I'm happy to have you. Thank you so much for the subscription, dude. Yeah, thank you so much. But, right, where did I post it? Here it is. Oh, let me just zoom in on that. Enjoy AOS even if people don't like it. People who don't like it find it appealing, but I also love 40k in the old world, so yeah. No, that's cool, dude. I mean, listen, I shit on Age of Sigmar all the time. I'm never saying you can't like it. I'm highly critical of it. I'm critical of fans who are incredibly toxic to the other, you know, the other Warhammer games, treating them like the Vestigial and Age of Sigmar is the only one that matters. But you're allowed to like Age of Sigmar. Like, never take my criticisms as like an attack on you personally. But yeah, okay. Here's the funny bit of this picture. I found this on Grimdank, of all places. They posted it to show how Warhammer 40,000 is a mockery of Christianity. I'm sorry, but no, all you did was prove that Warhammer 40,000 is a right-wing franchise. That's all they prove by this image. By the way, Bo, can't be here for the Gundam night. Have to go to work early tomorrow, so I need to sleep. Okay, man. Hey, get some rest. I hope you have a good day at work. You know, stay safe out there as well, all right, EA? All right. But like, I said this, and it's pissing all the right people off, and it's true. I think it's one of the reasons that, at the end of the day, Warhammer 40,000, you know, this image right here and this statement. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't think Warhammer 40,000 is right-wing commentary. It's not right-wing commentary. It's not adopting a right-wing political position. But what it's doing, what it does, is espouse right-wing values. You know, like in Warhammer 40,000, the idea that there might be a utopia, you know, there might be a return to utopia is, for example, is ridiculous. What they have is what they got, and they have to fight to maintain it. The world is objectively never going to get to utopia. In fact, the world is the way it is because mankind reached utopia. They reached utopia, and utopia failed them. Mankind was slapped in the face with the fact that there is no such thing as utopia. What you have is what you'll get. And if you don't try to maintain what you'll have, you'll lose it. History is ephemeral. It belongs to those who show up. Messages like that, values like that, are core to the identity of Warhammer 40,000. Right-wing values. You can't just tolerate everyone and every viewpoint. You can't just, you can't just tolerate everyone and every viewpoint and every faith. Because evil is real and it wants your soul. You can't just, trust everyone. You can't just trust everyone who's not in your group. Because they will backstab you. They will turn on you. The moment it's inconvenient for you and convenient for them, your alliance will end. You can't put your trust entirely in technology. Technology can fail you. Not only can it fail you, it will fail you. It's inevitable. It's just a matter of when. And not to mention, the single strongest thing against the evil that would seek to undo you is faith in God. And that was a lesson that in this setting, even God himself had to learn. That the only path forward for mankind is faith. Right-wing values. They're the core of Warhammer 40,000. They are the foundation that everything else is built on. All the lore, all the foundational lore is built in turn on a foundation of right-wing values. Now, was it deliberate or was it accidental? I don't know. A lot of the old heads, like say, Rick Priestley, who made this setting, strike me that they may have had a right-wing streak about them, even if they were unaware of it. Because remember, the key factor of art, all relevant art is right-wing. Because all relevant art with values that speak to human civilization and survive throughout the era are right-wing values. The utopian, at this one point utopian, but also presentist views of the left cannot make good art. Because good art, relevant art, has to survive beyond the present. It doesn't, and it can't, it can't espouse a desire for a perfection that we as mortals on Earth can achieve, can never achieve. That is why leftist art is never relevant. That's why whenever you have big leftist art blow-ups like, say, Steven Universe, stellar example for modern leftist art that blew up culturally, why it eventually fades and rots and goes away. Leftist art is like fallen fruit. It only exists to rot. Nobody talks about Steven Universe like it's foundational art that, like, you know, defines, you know, like sits as a cornerstone of culture. But the Sistine Chapel, unless a nuke falls on that church and blows it up, completely erases it, the Sistine Chapel will be forever. And even if it was destroyed, we would remember it forever. And that's what I mean by right-wing, all relevant art is right-wing art. The values that created the Sistine Chapel and created art up until very recently in our history, as recent as, I'd say, the mid-2010s, created relevant art because the values were right-wing by design or by accident. Like Starship Troopers. Starship Troopers espouses right-wing values. That was not the intent of Paul Verhoeven. But that was what he did. So, yeah, Warhammer 40,000 is a right-wing franchise. It may not establish a right-wing talking points or right-wing politics in this very, like, you know, the sense that the left views political art. It doesn't, you know, adopt it in a political way. It doesn't adopt these right-wing values in a commentary way, which would be a political way. It adopts them in a timeless way, in a universal kind of way, that these values define Warhammer 40,000. You know, even if the creators don't like that. And frankly, I think the trailer harkens to that. It harkens to these right-wing values that defined Warhammer 40,000 in its creation, rather than the very contemporary, limited kind of way they did with the 9th and 10th edition trailers. That's what I believe. And frankly, I think it's really not a matter of opinion. It's kind of a matter of fact now. And I've been told from reliable sources that Phil Kelly, the guy in charge of Warhammer 40,000 right now, is an old head. He's a grognard. He likes this kind of Warhammer. He likes the old Warhammer. And that's why you've seen with these last couple editions, why it feels like it's pivoting back onto that, right? This is why Warhammer 40k has been around for 4 decades. Yeah, it's why it's only grown for 4 decades. It's one of the few tabletop games that has never fallen off, even if it's had its rough spots. Even in like the dark ages of 6th and 7th edition, it maintained itself well enough to take off again in 8th. And frankly, if they can turn around the shit they've done in late 9th and early to middle 10th, I feel like they can pull it back again because the foundation is strong. But, okay, so. Who wants to talk retcons? Show of hands in chat, okay? Who wants to talk retcons? Cause, oh boy, the almonds been activating. The almonds been activating since the release of the Return of Yarick. All right. You know what? It's time to talk retcons. So let's get my examples up. Let's do that. Let's get my examples up. No. Bad image program. There we go. Okay. So, all right, let's talk story hooks in 10th edition, okay? Let's talk story hooks. There were in like the first 2/3 of 10th edition, there were 4 major conflicts. There was the 4th Tyrannic War, which it was a nothing burger. It started and Games Workshop basically forgot about it. They forgot it even happened. There was the Nachman Gauntlet, which was just, the Nachman Gauntlet, it was just Vigilus 2 Electric Boogaloo. That's all it was. Again, another nothing burger. You had Pariah Nexus, which was, we added that in 8th edition and then didn't talk about it for 2 editions. And again, a nothing burger. Nothing major happened. It was a absolute flash in the pan lore-wise. And then we had this. Armageddon. Very specifically, they advertised it as the 4th War for Armageddon. This is the 4th War for Armageddon, everyone. Grey Knights and Space Wolves versus fucking Angron and the World Eaters and Chaos Demons. More Armageddon. They're gonna be fun. Okay, Wars for Armageddon is just, there's been 3 of them at this point. I don't mind them doing a 4th, all right? There's been 3 of the things before this, but this book was billed as the 4th War for Armageddon, all right? Armageddon is the Middle East of the galaxy. Not wrong, considering Armageddon is supposed to be a place in the Middle East. So, yeah. But, right, more to the point. This book was billed as the 4th War for Armageddon, okay? Now, let's go over real quick what they had to say about the current conflict in Armageddon. Let's go over what they had to say in the current conflict. The Black Templars and Space Wolves, who were no strangers to campaigning on Armageddon, pledged themselves to Calgar's plan. They'll retain their independence as they continue to fight by their own methods. Brother Captain Sandini of the Blood Angels honored his chapter's oaths to the planet and brought what Space Marines he could. And many more chapters contributed anything from a single strike force to multiple full companies. The plan to break the siege and save Armageddon was formed and given codename Operation Imperator. That's just going into okay. But this was the thing that
SWAT deploying.
Black Rabbit, thank you for the follow. Welcome to Crusade. Happy to have you here. Born too late to die on Armageddon, born too soon to die on Armageddon, born just in time to die on Armageddon. Yep, basically. But okay, this is the point that really got my almonds activating, all right? They mentioned the Black Templars and the Space Wolves had to pledge themselves to Calgar's plan for Operation Imperator to retake Armageddon. Motherfucker, they were already there. The Black Templars and the Space Wolves were literally right on Armageddon fighting Angron. They were literally just there. But the lore for the new book, for the Return of Yarick, implies they're not there. Implies that the Black Templars and the Space Wolves have been gone for some time. In fact, it implies the Space Wolves left with Yarick and the Black Templars to pursue Gaskell. And it was the Space Wolves who pulled Yarick out of the fire and saved him when he lay dying, far from Armageddon. So then the question is, okay, if the Black Templars and the Space Wolves were on Armageddon to fight Angron alongside the Grey Knights, then why are they being recalled? Why did they leave? They were literally 10 seconds ago just fighting on the planet. Why are they all the way out there with Yarick now? Right? So, this got me thinking more. And then I remembered this bit of lore. According to lore from 8th edition, and as far as I understand from the lore of Crusade Armageddon, Armageddon was half turned into a demon world by the events of the Great Rift. Don't the Space Wolves and Grey Knights hate each other? Yes, but it's a matter of the demons are worse. So also hello, Alastair Corvo, hello first time chatter. Yeah, they do hate each other, but putting aside grudges for the fight, right? To fight the real enemy. But here's the thing. According to the lore between 8th edition and Crusade Armageddon, half of Armageddon was turned into a demon world by the opening of the Great Rift. And that was how Angron got back to Armageddon. That was how he got back. Through the instability in real space. That's how they were able to bring him back, when the Conquerors showed up. And summon him to Armageddon. But now, this is the map of Armageddon as of the Return of Yarick. Now, what do you, okay, and by the way, I want to point out, promotional material for Crusade Armageddon said that even the Orcs and the Imperium were teaming up in a tag team against Chaos because of how the planet was just covered in demons, right? In fact, they cover that in a novel called Armageddon Saint by everyone's favorite hack writer, Gav Thorpe, that said that, by the way, that novel is shit. That novel is shit. It has like a penal legion sergeant or something like that, becoming an orc war boss because he kills a war boss. And then you learn, oh, the orcs could actually be peaceful. The Imperium are just mean. And then you have orcs worshiping on the altar of the Emperor. The Sisters of Battle are just okay with it. The book is garbage, but it was very clear what they were leaning into with it, with them, going into lore for, into 9th and 10th edition for Armageddon and into the Crusade Armageddon book. What? No, Lawrence, I'm not making that up. That happens in the book. I'm not making that up. Swear on me, Mom. I'm not making that up, okay? But so apparently, even like in the end of that book, and in the book for Crusade Armageddon, Armageddon is overrun by demons. All right, like half the planet is lost to chaos. They kick Angron off Armageddon, but half the planet is lost to chaos. Now, as of Return of Yarick, let's zoom in on the map. First of all, as a Return of Yarick, all the damage from Angron's summoning has been reduced to just the northern poles, the fire wastes. It never went beyond that. The only hive that fell during the Chaos Invasion was Hive Thoratus, this one on the upper right. And rather than say, oh, there's demons and chaos here still, and we're still fighting them, according to the legend on the map, the orcs have already taken over again. In fact, it implies that the biggest threat is not chaos in the area, it's the orcs. The lore straight up says that the only chaos presence in Hive Thoratus is just random cultists. And once again, the major threat on the planet is no longer demons of Khorne, but orcs. The status quo of the planet has been reset back to the end of the Third War, and Angron's invasion has been dialed back to just appearing in the North Pole, and the Grey Knights basically banished him and left. And nobody knew it was happening. You know, or if people knew it was happening, it was like, oh, minor chaos rising. The chaos uprising happened at the Hive Thoratus. They took the hive, everyone. And no one knew about Angron or the World Eaters or whatever. Like, it was, I haven't read Return of Yarick, but in its entirety, but I've read enough to show that, yeah, they're downplaying Angron's presence. You know, they're downplaying it and trying to play it off like it wasn't as big as they originally said it was. It wasn't the fourth war for Armageddon. It was a major but ultimately contained chaos incursion that never got beyond Hive Thoratus, and the orcs have already basically taken the place over again. And if anything, the most damning evidence is the fact that the Black Templars and the Space Wolves, who were supposedly on Armageddon fighting chaos with the Grey Knights, are now needing to be recalled. And the Space Wolves were out there actually fighting alongside Yarick, and so were the Black Templars. And then Gaz did his teleport move back to Armageddon. And from there, now, you know, the defenders have to return and break through again. I will point out, Crusade Armageddon was it was considered dog water. It was considered bad. The lore was bad, like, not even bad, dog shit, all right? That was the book with shit like Grimaldus, you know, dumping vats of acid on Imperial Guardsmen to get some of the Chaos Marines who were embroiled in melee with them. Like, Grimaldus would not do that. He respects the people of Armageddon too much. And here they had him considering the people of Armageddon as disposable tools, like completely undoing his character development from fucking the novel Hell's Reach. Like, the book was garbage. Crusade Armageddon was garbage and was laughed out of the lore. And all the lore from Return of Yarick going into 11th edition is undoing it. It is retconning it because it was bad lore. It was 11th edition new lore, you know, NU-lore, not new NEW. It was 11th edition new lore. And the new stuff with Armageddon is retconning it. And frankly, and this is what I noticed, the four campaign books for the end of 11th edition, much like the new trailer that we just saw, are hearkening back to Old Hammer. They're not presenting these as the next big battlefield where the stakes have never been higher and it's going to, you know, completely upend Warhammer 40,000 forever. Like the Fourth Tyrannic War, the Nachman Gauntlet, the fucking, the Pariah Nexus, the Angron's invasion of Armageddon. That's how all of those were advertised. The big new conflict that's gonna upend the setting. It's gonna be the next Cadia, you guys. It's gonna be the next Cadia. Remember Cadia? Cadia stands. Remember Cadia? Yeah, like that. That's not how they're advertising these. They're just advertising these as conflict zones. There's a war going on here. You can set your campaigns here. We're gonna put in fun little rules like, you know, like apocalypse, tank battles, custom special characters, stuff like that. But they're not billing it anymore as the big turning point that's just gonna be another nothing burger like the Fourth Tyrannic War. Or something like Angron invading Armageddon, which I will point out, by the way, Armageddon is no longer half demon world,
deploying.
according to the map. Thank you, Officer Buck Tudrussell, for the follow. Welcome to the Crusade. How you doing? But yeah, no. The half demon world has been completely retconned. It's been completely retconned and reset. And now they're basically redoing Armageddon as one of these books. It's just a conflict zone. It's no longer, oh, the next Cadia, you guys, that they've been chasing ever since the beginning of 8th edition, like campaign books have been since 8th edition. It's just conflict zones to set battles in, to have campaigns in with fun little side rules. And you know what? I'm fine with that. That's all I want from campaign books. I don't want another Cadia. I want backdrops for wars. And that's what they're doing now. The vibe shift is real. They're going back to how the old 3rd edition Armageddon rulebook was, or the Eye of Terror campaign. The 13th Black Crusade was never supposed to end. It never had an ending. It never had an ending when it came out. The last line of the 13th Black Crusade lore was the battle for Cadia had begun. It wasn't meant to be this big blowout battle, the final battle. It was meant to be just a conflict zone. Chaos is besieging Cadia, go fight there. Orcs are besieging Armageddon, go fight there. That's what it was, and that's what campaign books were, and that's what these are, and that's why they're good. I can tell Phil Kelly is a grognard because he's returning 40K to how it was. I can see these patterns in anybody else who was a 40K fan back then. A true 40K fan can see it too. And they retconned a quarter of the conflict zones added in 10th edition to pull it off. They completely retconned out the impact of Angron's invasion to a footnote in the planet's history. Not the next big conflict, but a footnote. It still happened, but the impact has been reduced, especially with Armageddon no longer being half demon world. And I'd like to point out, by the way,
Faith is our shield.
Oh, hey, Igzorn, thank you for the subscription. Grats on 13 months, dude. I really need to buy 500 worlds before it's gone. It's not going to be gone. They're keeping these books all through. They're keeping these campaign books these campaign books, these 4, they're keeping them all through 11. They're going to be, they're compatible with 11th edition. They were built with it in mind. So these books will still be there. But I mean, if anything, the idea that 11th edition was built on nothing burger lore is, I'm gonna be honest, it just tracks. Like, who remembers the Dawn of Fire novel series? You know, it was a series with, you know, you had Avenging Sun, great book, great starting point, right? Gate of Bones, good novel. It was a good novel. Gate of Bones was a great novel. I liked it. Then you hit Wolf Time, and it's just filler all the way down. The novel series billed as the next Horus Heresy, everyone. That was what they advertised the Dawn of Fire as, the next Horus Heresy. The next, like, 70-odd book series about the central conflict of Warhammer 40,000. A central plot line about a unified select group of characters, and it fell on its face. Nobody liked it because they didn't know where the fuck to go with it. And all the books were fucking dog shit. Wolf Time, filler. Throne of Light, dog shit. Iron Kingdom, dog shit. Heresy memes aren't fun.
Shut up, bro, you're weird.
Ahoy, Marshal. Just got here from work. What are they retconning now? Are they blowing up more 40k again?
Okay, Nolly. Let me hit you with the TLDR version. They retconned Angron's impact on Armageddon from half of Armageddon is now a demon world to, oh, that happened. That happened. One hive fell. The orcs have it again. Armageddon's like still a perfectly normal, not half demon world planet. Like that whole dog shit Crusade Armageddon books lore has basically been reduced to a footnote. Rather than the major Fourth War for Armageddon conflict it was, sold as in its own writing, its own writing and its own like hype pre-release. But, right, so basically, yeah, like I was saying, Avenging Sun, good book. Gate of Bones, good book. Wolf Time, filler. You can ignore it. Throne of Light, abysmal fucking dog shit. Iron Kingdom, abysmal fucking dog shit. Martyr's Tomb, abysmal fucking dog shit. Sea of Souls, filler. Hand of Abaddon, filler. The Silent King, the big final battle of the Dawn of Fire, which, by the way, cut down from who knows how many books to 9. Filler. Filler defined 10th edition. You recently forced yourself to reread the series, you need a shower? Yeah, no, these books accomplished nothing. They accomplished nothing. They went nowhere. The books were bad. Nobody bought them, and that's why they canceled the series. Like, they were just bad books. And remember, fucking, was a flop too. Ashes of the Imperium, the beginning of the Great Scouring, was also a flop. Because it was also a nothing burger. It was also filler. Unironically, the Era of Ruin, the short story compilation that followed The End and the Death, was a better follow-up to The End and the Death than fucking Ashes of the Imperium. A new franchise, a new major book series starter, written by Guy Haley, meant to begin the sequel series to the Horus Heresy, The Great Scouring, and it gets 5th place in polls, which, by the way, I'll point out are inflated polls. People were absolutely bombing that book to get it higher. I wouldn't be surprised if, if like the polls were legitimate, if it even got like 9th place, right? That book bombed. A lot of Games Workshop's releases during this period, mid-9th to end of 10th, right up to the point they released 500 Worlds, is just garbage. And I think they know it. That's why they made a trailer. Trailers and campaign books that are all harkening back to old Hammer, the old aesthetics, the old style of campaign books, the old mood, the old grimdark that everyone liked. That's why they're doing this. Like, I don't mean to, jump the gun. I think we're looking at a total chud victory, you guys. I think we're looking at a total chud victory right now. Don't forget the Ashes of the Imperium tried to push the Femstones. I wouldn't be surprised if that alone killed it, But even, you know, even even if you had a female custodian in the book, who I'll point out was out of character for the custodians because her facade, her you know, completely unbreakable, you know, fucking aura of resolve. She was almost crying. Like, bro, is it any wonder people thought that book was dog shit? And not only that, not only was that book dog shit because of that, it was dog shit because nothing fucking happens. It was dog shit because nothing fucking happens. When you had way back when you had, why am I blanking? Horse Rising, right? You had a lot happen. You sowed seeds of like story shit, right? You sowed the seeds of the story and the world you were establishing. Because remember, you couldn't just go into the Horus Heresy like people knew it. People didn't know the era. So Horus Rising goes into establishing the setting, right, of the late Great Crusade. But then it absolutely had things happen. It had the Interrex happen. It had Erebus stealing the Athame happen. It had meeting Samus on 6319 happen. It set things up that were very clearly meant to push the story forward and hit the reader with, where is this all gonna go, right? Ashes of the Imperium didn't do that. It felt more like status quo than where is this going? And that, on top of the bad lore with, you know, female Custodes fan fiction in it, is what killed that book. And the writing has felt like that for an edition and a half now. And I feel like a lot of what we're getting that feels like it's still part of that is just release inertia at this point. It's like, okay, this is too far along to stop. But now with 500 Worlds, we're hitting the point where, like, say, Phil Kelly was like, all right, guys, we got to turn this ship around, okay? We got to go back to how things were. And I feel like when around the time they started writing 500 Worlds, they worked on this trailer. You know? Around the time they started working on 500 Worlds, they started working on that trailer. And then and that's where we are now. I feel like this is a cultural turnaround for the company. They won't fix prices. But I feel like we might be heading toward a total chud victory with Warhammer 40k. Don't brace for the worst. Hope for the best. Brace for the worst, hope for the best. But all the same, yeah, that's where I feel like we're going with this now. I feel like that's where releases are going, because these last 4 releases have been good. These have been good releases. The models, the lore, the quality of the books too. And the fact they designed, well, I think it lends credence to this schizo theory of mine. The fact that they designed these 4 books to be backwards compatible with 11th edition and completely ditched the prior 4, you know, 4th Tyrannic War, Nachman Gauntlet, Pariah Nexus, and Crusade Armageddon are not backwards compatible with 11th edition, but these 4 are. It was spinning the tires throughout the book. Yeah, that was the problem. It was spinning the tires. It didn't fucking go anywhere. Like that's really it. It just didn't go anywhere the whole time. It was a bad book because of it. You suspect an internal purge happened and we weren't supposed to hear about it. I wouldn't say a purge. I would say, however, absolutely. Corporate may have caught wind of what was going down in the writing room and the design room and what it was doing, and was like, guys, look, we've officially put the sword of Damocles over you guys. Shape up. shape up. Get your shit in order. I'll also point out, by the way, the rumor, I don't know if they've come out yet, the GW financial reports. But the rumors are that Games Workshop profits are down significantly. Remember, everyone, go woke, go broke does not happen instantly. It's like a creeping disease, you know? The flops may not cause a company to collapse instantaneously. And a lot of people who say go woke, go broke doesn't happen will say that, oh, well, the company didn't collapse. Ha ha. It's a cope. Go woke, go broke is a cope. And it's like, yeah, no, it's not that. It's a wasting death. And the current rumors that I've heard is that Games Workshop profits are down significantly in this quarter. This shit may not down your company instantly, but it will poison it until its heart eventually stops. And you think this doesn't happen? If you think this doesn't happen, The Mandalorian and Grogu, a Star Wars movie, lost the box office to a fucking Backrooms adaptation. So miss me with that go woke, go broke shit doesn't happen thing. Miss me with that. Miss me with that shit. Not only does it happen, it killed one of America's cultural milestones in the form of Star Wars. As Trump once said, everything woke turns to shit. Yeah, real. Real. Ugh. Man. Sorry, I had to stretch. I had to stretch back there. Oof, but yeah. Yeah, that's where we're at right now, guys. Like I said, I wouldn't call it a comeback. But, you know, hope for the best, brace for the worst, but I'm observing the signs and following the patterns. And yeah, and I've been feeling the vibe shift since basically 500 Worlds. Like, a little bit at the start, but now it's really sticking. Last I heard, even Disney is starting to reconsider the Star Wars sequels. The rumbling about them getting buried and forgotten. Yeah, I know, I remember that. The rumors are that Ahsoka Season 2 is going to use the World Between Worlds to basically sever them from the timeline. Now, personally, I just throw them into Legends, like, unceremoniously. But, you know, Disney is also, I would imagine, nervous and trying to tread water. And they're nervous. When they're nervous, they're trying to walk on eggshells, and they're probably what they're doing is trying to, you know, not cause a ruckus by just openly decanonizing the films, but they're just gonna, like, you know, use the canon to break them from canon, you know, rather than do it openly. That's what I think they're gonna do. I think that's where the direction they're gonna go. I think that rumor will probably turn out true, unless the failure of Mandalorian and Grogu at the box office means they take drastic measures and they just declare the sequels non-canon. Like, they just Legends them, you know? Because Mandalorian and Grogu flopping is pretty significant. We watched Star Wars exhale its dying breath. Star Wars has officially died. It wasted for a decade, but it has now died. When a Star Wars movie fails at the box office to low-budget indie horror films, Star Wars is dead. You can't even blame the Force Awakens, not Force Awakens, Last Jedi anger that sank Solo at the box office in this case. You can't even blame that. It's just apathy. It's just apathy. Apathy got to them. Apathy killed Star Wars more than anything else. People just got sick of the shit and just stopped showing up. And the new audience that they wanted to replace them didn't show up either. Welcome to you know, welcome to the absolute state. Heresy memes aren't fun.
Shut up, bro, you're weird.
Oh, hey,
I
Nolly,
want to
thank
believe
you.
you, I really do. But I'm simply too jaded to believe it, and I'm gonna need some serious proof before I agree. Are the firstborn back? Femstodes rebuked? Smearing the Emperor go away? No? I'll keep waiting.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you, Nolly, for the $20 super chat. Also, thank you for the 10. I forgot to say that. I'm a jerk. But right. So it's kind of funny because I've talked about this before. They're basically not acknowledging Primaris anymore. They're basically, because they never stopped making firstborn Marines because there's all that, gene seed that they would obviously still be using. So that was a thing all throughout 8th and 9th and 10th edition lore. But now they've just stopped acknowledging, Primaris altogether. And they're combining pieces of the old armor marks with Mark 10 and new kits. It's very clear that not only is the vibe shift real in the presentation of the lore, but the presentation of the minis, the Space Marines. They're trying to bring back those old aesthetics in the, they're trying to bring back those old aesthetics in the lore, in the way 40k is presented, and even in the writing. Because again, the last time becoming Primaris was a plot point with Space Marine 2, which they began writing before middle 8th edition. So that's just inertia. That's just inertia there. But inertia peters out. Did he miss me roasting all the hot takes on X about the Emperor moving? My only response to that is, oh fuck. Okay? Like the blue sky and Twitter tourist and Reddit brigade can have whatever hot takes they want. That's an oh fuck moment. What should I recommend to my friend to get them into Warhammer Fantasy or 40k? I'm struggling to find Wood Elf, Eldar, Exodite stuff for my sister because I know she would like them. Oh, she's an elf lover. Shit, yeah, that's tough. And the problem, heresy memes aren't fun.
Shut up, bro, you're weird.
I think I will stick with War Machine MK4 and OPR Grimdark Future and Age of Fantasy. Kinda want to try Conflict 47 as well.
Oh no, I don't blame you for sticking with them, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm gonna be playing 11th edition because it looks like they're actually trying with 11th edition this time. It looks like they're actually trying with it, But yeah, no, I get sticking with other games. I'll be playing Gundam Assemble as well. I'll be playing that as well. Oh, okay. Let's see. All right, that was basically all I wanted to talk about. That was basically all I wanted to talk about. I normally don't stream this early, so oh, okay. Wait a minute. I need to check something. No one go anywhere. No one go anywhere. I need to check something. I need to check if someone's live. Okay, you know what? No, but you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna send y'all to go visit.
Come on, baby, give me some heresy!
I'm working on it, Iggy. All right. I'm gonna send y'all over on Twitch to go watch Gallant J, buddy of mine, who I shouted out earlier. I'm gonna end stream here. Thank you for watching, everyone. I'll be back tomorrow. I'm not sure what I'll be doing. I'll figure it out then. So yeah, hope y'all have a good evening. Take care, everyone. And yeah. Let me start the raid. Oh, what do you mean invalid name? Fuck off. Hold on. Raid. There we go. All right. I will catch you all tomorrow, everyone. So yeah, again, have a good evening. Take care, and yeah, I'll see you later.